I am sad to say that an evolution was more evident to me than explanations of religious people. It was only because I cannot accept something that is thrown at me. And, in my opinion, that is how the religious people of our time like to get their points across. So, whenever I asked a person of science a question, their answer would resonate within me better, leading me to believe that what they said is right. My dad revealed to me that Christianity wasn't black people's original religion. He finally showed me the film series Roots when I was around 16. I subconsciously took note that the father character uttered the name Allah during a ceremony where he raised his son to the night sky and named him Kunta Kinte. I knew that my dad was trying to give me some idea of where our ancestry stemmed from. I was a little stunned to learn that we may have been Muslims at the time, but I now know better. Given all that I have learned about the religions of the dunya, I decided to follow my heart instead. Use my own judgment to weigh situations. I already had a basic understanding of what was right and wrong. If someone asked me what I believed in, I would just say, I don't have a religion. I just try to follow God. I figured that way I wouldn't be led astray by the lies that man had added to the religious books. It was when I attended college that my journey would first hit its peak. Now that I think on it, the way things fell into place were as if there were dominoes slowly toppling in my mind, flicking on one idea at a time. Meeting Sarah was probably one of the significant reasons I am here today, along with Sister Nada, who used to go to my high school. I wouldn't have really known Sarah if it weren't for her, as well as I wouldn't have gotten close to Nada if Sarah wasn't her friend. So I give Allah thanks and praise for blessing me with such beautiful friends like these. Around that time, my older sister had gotten her hands on a 2-disc DVD set called The Arrivals. Before she let me see it, she warned me not to show or speak about it to just anyone. And she was only showing me because I was so open-minded and she thought it would spark my interest. At the time, I was really into alien and supernatural films. She told me that the DVD was from an internet series on YouTube about what's really going on in the world. Back then, I had no idea on how relevant it was. Even now, credit due to Abba Sadiq al-Islam, because I remember watching the opening title and looking at the random images flashing, thinking, wow, this is crazy. It's funny because he packed so much information into 1 minute and it had already astounded me. I guess he was just preparing us for the gravity of the information he had in store. My sister would frequently pause it so I could read and discuss what it had to share. After the first half of the first DVD, she decided to call it a night, not wanting to overwhelm me with the heavy knowledge. She asked me what I thought, to which I replied, well, maybe it could be a coincidence, but man, there sure is a lot of sense to what he is saying. Then she said, I know, it's scary to think, isn't it? That night I pondered on the DVD, just thinking, man, what if he's right? That's crazy. I mean, I had a hunch that something wasn't right, but I didn't think it was as big as what he was stating. Which was funny, because I hadn't even finished watching it. The next day, I told Sarah and Nada what I had watched. They couldn't contain their excitement, and neither could I, when I found out they had already seen it. We all jumped around, giggling and discussing frantically. Then Sarah said, wait till you finish it. Well, I did, and in great haste. I was so eager to learn more about the world I thought I knew. The more I learned, the more I found comfort in knowing that the fact that I didn't like TV or drinking or many of the world's delicacies was okay. And it was only because these things are that of the devil and the things he uses to deter you from the righteous path. And that it is the main point I took from the arrivals. That all this is the devil's effort to turn us all away from God. The climax of my journey began late last year in mid-November, when I realised the gravity that is the reality of the blessed call. It all started with a simple phone call that literally rocked my world. It was at work. I was just about to take my break when I received word from Sister Nada that Sister Sarah had withdrawn herself from the needless distractions of the dunya, and Allah knows best of her condition. Back then, I held my friendship with Sarah very dearly, so to learn that she had distanced herself from me was a blow that my heart could not take. After the initial conversation with Nada, I had to take the time out to let the information fully digest. I began to assess the situation. I felt that Sarah genuinely loved me as a friend and really enjoyed my company. I also knew that her love of the Almighty surpassed any attachment she had for this world. This meant she was taking a serious step towards knowing her Lord, which was all a big pretty transition, considering we used to spend our time having fun and pondering on life's big mysteries. It was such a drastic change for me to think about life without my best friend that I broke down and sought refuge in the store cupboard at work, so that I could find some solace in my darkest hour. The tears would continue to persist. The more I thought upon the events, I fell into confusion, wondering what I was to do. How would I continue to pave a righteous Islamic lifestyle if my main source of guidance had taken herself away to focus on her own path of enlightenment? It was a selfish thought. I was happy for her. I was happy that she was taking her religion so seriously, but I was worried for myself. I had yet to learn the prayers. I was barely applying the traditions to my everyday life. And with every conversation held with Sarah, she would only give me a speck of the knowledge from Abba Sadiq alayhi salam.